doing a video on how to take care of some oil leaks on a 2012 Kia Sedona. The car belonged to my buddy, so he took it to one of these oil change places, got done, and a few days later, oil lights started coming on and had an oil leak underneath the car. Well, first we suspected the oil pressure sensor. So I found a video online, told you how to do the oil pressure sensor, which involves taking off your intake manifold and a bunch of stuff, basically, all the way down to get to the sensor that is right there. Well, come to find out, his oil cooler was bad. Not oil cooler, oil filter housing was what was actually leaking, from what I can assume was a vigorous removal by the oil change place. Can't prove it, but oh well. So in order to get that off, you have to take your intake manifold off. You have to take the throttle body loose from the coolant fittings. Got to take all your coolant fittings off of this giant housing here, which is called a water outlet. And Dorman makes the part. AutoZone and O'Reilly's both carry it. You can usually get it same day, maybe next day. The oil filter housing, however, which I'm going to show you now, and you can write that number down, so I'll hold the video on there for a few minutes. That comes from Kia, and you can only get it at Kia. You can get it online, but with a job like this, I recommend getting only factory parts because of the garbage that's involved. Also, another thing you'll want to do if you're replacing the oil pressure sensor is to buy this Dorman part number right here. It is the harness for your oil filter housing. Now, this one is not the exact right part. However, you can't get the exact right part. The end is correct. The wire's a little short, so you'll have to do a little modification to make it work. But generally, when the oil pressure sensor goes, the pigtail fails as well. So you don't need a whole lot of tools. There's 3 bolts on each side that holds this in. That's from the back of the engine. That's the front. You'll want to get you a universal to get into that one. Those are all 12 millimeters. Pretty much you can do this whole job with a 12 millimeter and a 10 millimeter. The socket size, I used a 15/16 because I didn't have a large enough metric deep well socket to get the oil pressure sensor off. You have to pull that big coolant pipe off. Fortunately, the O-rings on mine are still good. It's held in there with a 10 millimeter. The biggest pain in the butt you're going to have is when you're taking the intake manifold off. See that bolt right there? Well, that bolt holds a dumb bracket that's also bolted to the engine. And when I did the oil pressure sensor, that bracket kind of disappeared. So hopefully this kind of helps you guys out. I know it's not the best video, but yeah, it's not a complex job. You just got to take the intake manifold off. You can figure out how to take the intake manifold off. You can figure that out on your own. If you can't take the intake manifold off on your own, you got no business messing with the other parts. So try to fix your own crap. And if it's just too big of a job, bring it to me and I'll say the swear words for you, man. Fix your own crap.